Zippity doodah, beautiful day, great to be alive. Hey, what's up everyone? This is Chris Brown here again. I'd like to officially welcome you to the Unfair Advantage Marketing System version 2.0. As you can see here, I'm filming today's video aboard the cruise ship. We're heading on here from Florida all the way to the Bahamas. How many of you understand your taxes, investing, marketing, cash flow, and some of these different areas of your business, right? Now, one of the things that Mark Cuban of Shark Tank says is you can't delegate what you don't know. So because of what we're going to share with you throughout this video and throughout this system, you're going to have the power to never ever let anybody take advantage of you ever again. Now, as business owners, we have many hats that we wear, don't we? In other words, we have a lot of different responsibilities. And so what has happened is most business owners have only mastered maybe one or two areas of their business, and for the most part, that's just their craft, and they left everything else up to chance. Now, how many of you, when you get a new item with an owner's manual, how many of you decide that, well, I know what I'm doing, and decide to forfeit it? This is especially true for guys. You know, it's the whole macho thing. I know what I'm doing. I don't need an owner's manual. Well, this here is your owner's manual to your business. Financial success is not a game of chance, as many people would believe. You know, successful people don't have certain privileges that the rest of us do not. Now, this is not about you getting rich. Of course, we've worked with billion-dollar companies, right? We even have customers who use this system who make over $100 million a year. But for the most of you, this is just about helping you to get ahead. Now, if you're anything like me, I was raised in a working-class, blue-collar background. You know, one of the things I was told, a lot of you were probably told this as well, that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now, I know I can't see you, but just go ahead and raise your hand, and raise your hand if you were told the same thing. Now, we've all heard that 4 out of 5 marriages end in divorce, right? But that's really not the whole story, because there's certain things that we can do to increase our chances. There's been a lot of research done on this. So I'm going to take you to my computer here for just a second and show you just what some of those things are. Okay, so research shows that if you got married after age 27, you will have a 57% chance that you will stay married. And then college education lowers your chance by another 25%. And then if you make more than $50,000 a year, your risk of divorce lowers by 30%. Now, the same thing is true when it comes down to financial success. Okay, now let's first look at why small businesses fail even in the first place. Now, most of us have heard this data, but it's good for us to review it. And that is that 50% of small businesses fail within their very first 12 months. So if you're a small business owner, and if you've been in business for more than 12 months, congratulations. Okay, 80% of small businesses fail within their first 5 years. Again, if you've made it beyond that point, I want to congratulate you. But even if you do make it beyond those first 5 years, 95% of them earn less than $50,000 a year. So even if we do make it beyond those first 5 years, it doesn't really give us that much hope. So again, 50% of small businesses fail within their first 12 months, 80% of them fail within their first 5 years, and then 95% of them earn less than $50,000 a year. Now, the data shows us that 84 small businesses fail every hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And it's not always because of money problems. It's also because of becoming just so overwhelmed because of all the responsibilities attached to running their business. And so they just get burned out. And so because of the things that we're going to show you and some of the things that you have because of this system, you're going to be able to avoid that burnout, because there's going to be systems that will be working for you even though that you're not working. It will be automating your business just like a franchise does. So what we want to do with you is we want to run your business based upon the same principles that franchises run their business off of, and that's kind of some of the things that we provided you here as part of this system. So let's compare this to a franchise. Now, 80% of franchises succeed in those exact same 5 years.
So what do you want to have? Do you want to have an 80% chance that you will fail, or have an 80% chance that you will be successful in those exact same 5 years? Now, obviously, we want to have an 80% chance that we would be successful. Now, I know a lot of people have a negative opinion about network marketing companies or MLM companies, multi-level companies. But as we can see here, if we look at the data shows us that 70% of MLM people who get started in MLM succeed within their first 3 years. And the reason that so many people do fail is because they don't give it 3 years. They give it a month. They give it 60 days, and then they quit. Now, those who remain active in an MLM company for 10 years, 95% of them earn $100,000 a year or more. Now, when we look at, again, I didn't put this up on the chart here, but when we look at small businesses, 97% of them will fail within 10 years. So if you start a small business, you'll have a 97% chance that you will fail. And if you do a MLM company and you sustain active for 10 years, you will have a 95% chance that you will earn $100,000 plus a year. Now, 20% of home-based business earners earn over $500,000 a year. So the reason for this is when we look at franchises, okay, when we look at franchises and home-based businesses or MLM companies, whatever you want to call it, no matter what your opinions are or anything like that, the reason that they're so successful is because they have spent millions of dollars developing a system developing a system of success. Now let's look at this in what you're doing. Okay, let's look at why businesses fail. So 95% of the businesses who use marketing systems succeed. And a marketing system is a multi-step sales closing process according to eMyth Worldwide, and most businesses don't do that. They want to run a Craigslist ad or run a Yellow Pages ad and want people to come to them and buy. And sure, some people do, but it doesn't give them enough business for them to truly succeed. Now, 95% of the businesses that are successful advertise. Most businesses are not advertising. They're too scared to advertise because they don't know how to advertise. They're an expert at their craft and what they do. But as a business owner, this is why, again, you also need to understand how to market, how to do your taxes, how to understand cash flow. You have a lot of responsibilities as a business owner. So again, most small business owners do not advertise, or they only rely on word of mouth advertising or free stuff because they don't know how to do it. Now let's look at the next principle. 90% of the businesses who focus on personal development succeed. When was the last time you read a business book? Most businesses don't do this. So again, this is why they fail. Now, 70% of business failure could have been avoided by seeking expert advice, and that's according to SCORE, just like what you're doing here. And then on that side of the note, I want to congratulate you because this is something that you are doing. You are stepping beyond and above what your competitors are doing. Now, the average millionaire spends 60 minutes a day educating themselves on business and financial material. Are you doing that? Now, you might not have a goal of becoming a millionaire or anything like that, but what we want to do is most people's goals is just to get ahead. So what we want to do, instead of just focusing on get ahead, let's do what millionaires do, and that way we'll be that much closer to getting ahead. Now, there's a book called Think and Grow Rich. The average millionaire has read that book 14 times. How many times have you read that? This is, again, where most small businesses fail. The average millionaire has also read How to Win Friends and Influence People 7 times. How many times have you done this? Most businesses fail. So, again, what we want to do is we want to look at the businesses that are successful. Those businesses who succeed, 95% of them use a marketing system, which is a multi-step sales closing process, and that's according to eMyth Worldwide. Dun & Bradstreet says that 95% of business failure is due to businesses not advertising. Are you advertising? That's why what we're providing you as part of this system. You get to use the money other businesses are spending in advertising in order to get customers for yourself. 90% of those who focus on personal development, again, like what you're doing right here, succeed. 70% of the business failure could have been avoided by seeking expert advice. That's according to SCORE. You're doing that. The average millionaire is spending 60 minutes a day educating themselves on business and financial material. If you've never done that before, because you're watching this video, you're getting started on that. Then the average millionaire has read the book Think and Grow Rich 14 times and How to Ruin Friends and Influence People 7 times. So this is why we have provided you what we've provided you here, not only the tools, but we've also provided you with the education to be able to utilize those tools effectively.
So we want to look at the common factors that all successful businesses have, whether that be a Fortune 500 company or whether we're just a self-employed one-man business owner. Now, throughout the years, you've used a portion of your tax dollars to help finance not only what all successful marriages have in common, but also to figure out what has helped the vast majority of people to become successful. Now, this information is widely open to all of us. However, most people choose to ignore it. Now, according to BrianTracy.com, who says that in a 40-year working career, the average person's income goes up at a rate of about 3% per year. Of course, some years it's a little bit more and some years it's a little bit less, right? However, if you focus and if you invest in self-education through business books and business courses, the average person's income will increase at a rate of about 10 to 20% per year, and about every 18 months you'll double your income. Now, according to the Small Business Administration, the SBA, who says that the average small business has a startup cost of about $30,000. Now, let me ask you a question here. I'll try to keep the camera out of the wind as much as I can. But what good is a doctor without tools, right? And what good is that exact same doctor without the education to be able to get the most out of those tools? And that's exactly how we should look at our business. Now, does it make sense to spend an average of $30,000 to start a brand new business, right, and startup expenses, without investing in the education to be able to get the most out of the money that you spent? Now, in 2009, according to NerdWallet, the average doctor spent over $166,000 in their education. Now, because of the high hours worked and the interest rate from debt and some of these other factors, it also shows that the average doctor really makes only about $33.03 per hour. Now, my first business mentor spent about $90,000 in college. Now, while he was in college, he started a part-time business, which was supposed to give him an income as he was going through college to kind of support his education. However, after he got out of college, he figured out that that part-time business paid him more than if he would use his 2 degrees. Now, he spent another $100,000 on hiring a business coach and business mentors, buying business books and going through seminars and different things to help him in his business education. And by doing that, that enabled him to become a millionaire within 3 years and become 100% debt-free. Now, you were not born knowing how to walk, talk, or even how to drive a car, were you? These are all skills that you learned them when you needed them. So since so many of you have spent so many years, so much money developing your trade, isn't it time to get this part of your life handled? So you'll get paid for what you're worth for all these years of the hard work and dedications that you've invested into your trade. Because unless you learn how to sell and become a person of influence, you'll never get paid what you're worth. Now, as we all know, most businesses fail. 80% of them fail within their first 5 years. Now, on the other hand, if you would have started a franchise as opposed to starting a small and medium-sized business from scratch, you would have an 80% chance that you would be successful instead of an 80% chance that you would fail. Because franchises invest millions of dollars developing marketing systems, and that's why that they're so successful. So instead of having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in a franchise, and if you buy a McDonald's or anything like that, millions of dollars, with this system, we're not suggesting that you go ahead and start a franchise, but rather that with this system that we've provided you here with the Unfair Advantage marketing system, we're allowing you to build your businesses off the same principles that franchises build their business off of, and that allows you to have greater success. And on the other hand, everybody else is trying to figure this all out. So we've given you the best of both worlds, of both a startup business, like what you're doing right now, a small, medium-sized businesses, and what franchises are doing. Now, according to Dun & Bradstreet, who says that 95% of business failure is due to businesses not advertising, right? And we all know that we need to advertise and why we need to advertise, right? But a question so many times comes up, how can I advertise if I can't afford to advertise, right? And so, first of all, I don't really endorse any type of paid advertising generally. You need to be doing at least a few $1 million a year before you start doing paid advertising, right? But what I do suggest, there's a couple of things that I do, is really endorse word-of-mouth advertising, not the typical word-of-mouth advertising. Take, for instance, one of the things that we do, and one of the things that we really talk about a lot here, is by using the money that your competitors, or let's just say other businesses, are already spending in advertising, and you can go ahead and use that money to be able to go ahead and get yourself more business. Now, again, the first time that I did this, I utilized $100,000 that one of my competitors had already spent in advertising, and I used that money to be able to land myself 141 customers within my very first 6 hours. And so since these other companies have already spent their money in advertising, there's really no need for you to spend this money, right? So we use the money other businesses have spent, and we use that to be able to get more business for yourself. It's basically referral marketing on steroids. Now, as you probably realize, over the past few years, the business environment has drastically changed, hasn't it? You know, we've transitioned from an industrial age society into an information age society. And so the way that people buy is different, so the way that we have to sell also has to be different as well. So again, let me take you to my computer and explain to you how this works.
Okay, so the way that this has traditionally been done is we advertise our businesses in places that get a lot of traffic, right? So we have this group of people, right? They then go to the Yellow Pages looking for some of the products and services that you provide, and then they call you up and say, hey, I want to buy. Now, that's the way that business has been traditionally done. I'm not saying that this doesn't work anymore. It most definitely does work, but the consumer has changed again. Like we just mentioned, the way that people buy is different, and so the way we have to sell also has to be different. You know, everybody's been scammed, everybody's been screwed, everybody's been overcharged, so people are a lot more cautious today than they once were. So today what we use is we use a thing that is called as content marketing. And this is some of the things that Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, blogs, and all those different technology tools provides us. Right? Now, to be able to do content marketing, it's not required of technology. Technology is not required of it. It's just that technology allows us to broadcast our message to the masses with those tools. Now, because of the way the consumer has changed, on average, it takes now, the studies have shown that it takes now about 16 exposures before somebody will go ahead and trust you enough to be able to, for them to be ready to buy your products and services. Okay, so here's what we do. Through this content information, we provide educational information, we provide entertainment information that highlights the importance of why a person should want to go ahead and buy our products and services, and this is how we develop trust. Now, on the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a simplified form on how we can go ahead and implement this.
Now, contrary to what many small and medium-sized businesses are doing for their advertising, advertising is not just letting people know what it is that you do. You see, advertising is, in reality, it's understanding human emotions, human psychology, and how when we use the proper combinations of words, shapes, and colors, it will motivate a person to buy our products as opposed to some of our competitors. This is why some companies will spend hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars to run an advertising campaign, and this is even before any media is ever produced. Take, for instance.
Now there's an art form or craft that is called as sales copy, which basically means the ability or the talent to be able to sell through the printed word. Now the reason that these ads are able to sell through the printed word is because they use the proper combinations of words, shapes, and colors that motivated a person to buy from them as opposed to from their competitors, right? So you might not have the finances to be able to hire an advertising agency to do some of the things that they've done, but you can take a major shortcut with a thing that is called as a swipe file. Now a swipe file is where you take a advertising campaign that was already very, very successful. It sold a lot of products. It was successful in the selling, and then all that you do is you just basically fill in the blanks and exchange it for your products and services. So as you can see in front of you, here is a swipe file. On the left, there's an ad from Merrill Lynch. It was done in 1943, and as you can see here, it says what everybody ought to know about the stock and bond business. Approximately about 40 years later, Steve Jobs of Apple Computers took that exact same ad, removed everything that had to do about the stock and bond business, and replaced it with desktop computers. So we can take advertisements that have been very, very, very successful, that don't just say what it is that you do, but actually do the job of selling for you, and we can throw in your products and services as opposed to whatever ad that it ultimately sold. So this is just one of the things that we provided you. We have the swipe files, we have this for you, and we already have advertising campaigns that will work for you no matter what type of business that you are currently in.
Now, according to eMyth Worldwide, which says that the businesses that use marketing systems, 95% of them succeed. Now, the word that we decide to use to really that best explains what a marketing system is an auto sales closing system. Now, according to eMyth Worldwide, what this marketing system is a multi-step sales closing process. Now, these marketing systems, or what is called, again, as an auto sales closing system, does a couple of things. First thing that it does is it replaces labor. So you might not be good at selling, or you might be off going ahead and doing something else at the time, but your system will be working hard for you, selling your products and services for you. Now, the second thing that it does is it replaces talent, okay? So you might not have the skill of selling, but again, if your marketing system or auto sales closing system was developed by somebody who has a skill at selling, then you can leverage their talents and their skills. Now, again, as most of you know at this point, that my business partner Paul Gonzalez, he's a master at selling over the phone, right? And he's helped the companies that he's worked with do over $500 million in sales. That's his expertise. What kind of my expertise is building auto sales closing systems, building marketing systems. The company that I used to work for, they would charge, again, anywhere from about $15,000 to sometimes, in this case, as much as $35,000, $45,000, $65,000 for me to create an auto sales closing system for them.
Now, these auto sales closing systems have 6 steps, and we're going to go through this here in just a moment. But what we're going to notice about these auto sales closing systems is they are a self-generating business. Now, again, we don't really endorse that you spend money in advertising. We endorse that you utilize some of the tools that we've provided here as part of this system. But what we do see for those businesses who do spend money in advertising, because of the way that these systems work, they put a one-time investment into advertising. And again, because of the way that these systems work, they never have to spend money out of pocket for their advertising ever again. So let me kind of just walk you through these steps and how we do this. So first of all, again, we don't really recommend that you spend money in advertising, but rather that you utilize the money other businesses have already spent in advertising to be able to get you more customers, right? Now, once you have traffic coming to you, now the next step is that you want to generate a lead. Now, the reason that you want to generate a lead is because that at any given time, only about 3% of the population is ready to buy anything. And that's the market that most of yours, or I'll go out on a limb and say that all of your competitors are going after. They're only looking for those people who are ready to buy. But there's only about 3% of the population who is ready to buy anything at any given time. Now, there's also 7% of the population that's thinking about it, and another 60% of the population who is not directly thinking about it, but if you gave them the proper information, they would be interested in what as well. So what we can do is if we generate a lead, we can jump it from 3% who are ready to buy to 30% who are ready to buy. And if we only go after those people who are ready to buy right now, we may lose those who are thinking about it off to our competitors at a later point. Now, once we have generated a lead, then what we want to do is we want to give them a free trial offer. Now, normally this is done through information, content marketing, like we were already talking about. So we want to provide them with educational information, entertainment information that highlights the importance of why a person should want to go ahead and buy your products and services. Now, I want to introduce a new product line to your business of what we call as a mass marketable product. And the best way to kind of think about this is, when you go through the grocery stores and they have the tabloids and the candy bars and the batteries and stuff like that, those are little impulse items. So we want to do the same type of thing. We want to use the equivalent of that in our business. And there's a couple of reasons that we want to do this. First of all, is that the more expensive that your products and services are, the more trust that you're going to have to develop before they will buy from you. So if we offer a cheap and inexpensive product, they're going to be more likely to buy whatever it is that you have to offer. Now, what we suggest that you use is, and we've provided you with these as part of this system, is what we call as a mass marketable product. And these are different products that the vast majority of the population would buy. And so this does a couple of things. Again, if they buy these mass marketable products or impulse items, they're going to be more likely to buy whatever your main thing that you have to offer if they buy this first. Because if they buy these little cheap and inexpensive products from you, that's going to develop that trust, and then they're going to have the trust to buy whatever else that you have to offer later. Okay. Now, the other reason that we want to use these impulse items and mass marketable products is because it generates for you instant cash flow. Now, for those businesses who do spend money in advertising, we take the revenue that comes from your impulse items, your mass marketable products, and we put that back into advertising, so it generates a self-sustainable business. Now, the next step is whether somebody buys these impulse items or mass marketable products or not, what we also want to do is we want to include a sales letter and the packaging of that will then upsell them to your main products and services. Because if you look at the actual data, not all marketing is created equal. I love the internet, but it is 90%, the data shows us that it is 90% less effective than direct mail and the telephone. So we love the internet, we want to utilize it. The internet is efficient, it is not effective. And we'll get into that more later here. So even if they don't buy our products and services, we still want to follow up with them, and we can use email, we can use text messaging, we can use voice broadcasting systems. There's a lot of different things that we can follow up with them, even if they don't buy our impulse items and our mass marketable products. Now, again, this direct mail campaign that we include in the packaging of the impulse items will then go ahead and upsell them to your main products and services, and this is where you make all of your profits. This is where you make your living. And when businesses utilize this, a lot of times we're able to see them where they get to keep 100% of every single dime that they make from their business as 100% pure profits. And these other revenue streams just helps them to finance the business. Now, it also does another very, very important thing, and it's because according to the US government, this is called as differentiating your income. When you're working hard for money, when you're doing your normal thing as a small business owner, chances are you're going to pay a self-employment tax. And so when you use this type of a business model, what it's going to do for you is that for every $10,000 that you make, you're going to be able to pocket an additional $1,500. And that's whether you make no extra money or not. Just because of utilizing these type of systems, you're going to be able to pocket more money and keep more money in your pocket as opposed to paying it to the government and some of these other things that we have to spend money on. Okay, so again, these systems have 6 steps. We'll start with the second step because, again, we want to start off with the traffic, and we want to utilize the traffic by using the money that other businesses have already spent in advertising to be able to get us more traffic. So the first step is to generate leads. Now there's a couple of ways that we can do this. If you can start off with cold calling. You don't have to have videos. You don't have to have any of this stuff. You can go out there right now, right today, and start cold calling, and you can start generating leads. Now another way that you can do this is by using a one-page website that is called as a squeeze page or a landing page. And as you can see here, here's how Obama does it, and that's how he basically became president. He has a number of these different squeeze pages. So it's a one-page website where somebody will just enter they'll enter their contact information, and that's in exchange for some sort of a free gift, and we'll show you what that is here in just a moment. Now this is not a new idea. The technology may be new, but the idea is not new itself, because as you can see, this is the 1932 version of a squeeze page. This was on the back cover of a Cosmo magazine in 1932. And as you can see there's a little coupon that they would send in to request some free trial offer. And that's how Bisquick would generate a lead, and then they would start following up with them with direct mail. Now the second step, and this is how we generate a lead in the first place, is some sort of a free trial. So in order for them to give us their contact information, a name, an email, a phone number, any of that stuff, we're going to have to give them something as a bribe in order to get them to be able to do that. So I'll give you a couple of ways that some big companies do this. First of all is you get a free cookie with Subway. So if you go to Subway and they want you to take their survey, and if you take that survey, they'll be able to they'll give you a free cookie for doing that, okay? And what they're getting out of it is they're getting a lead that they can go off and to sell to other companies, or they can use it themselves to follow up with you. Now, I don't really notice them following up too much with me, but I do notice them selling it off to other companies. Now, another example is there's a women's clothing store called Club BB, and when you join their Club BB program, you will get $50 towards your very next purchase. They also have a lot of other incentives for people as well. Now, for businesses like yours and mine, the way that we normally do this is through information. Educational information, entertainment information. So we can do it over the phone or in person through consultations. We can also use information products, so we can use videos, social media stuff, emails, text messages, audio programs, ebooks, free reports, mobile apps, video games, white papers. There's a lot of different ways that we can do this, but again, essentially what we're doing is we're giving them free information that highlights the importance of why a person should want to go ahead and buy our products and services. Now the next area, this is where the front end revenue is, okay? And again, there's a couple of ways that we can do this. So if you're doing this online, what we want to do is we want to use advertising revenue through our YouTube videos. Google also allows us to be able to place ads on our websites, and so we can earn some advertising revenue that way. There's Michelle Phan, who a few years ago, and she's even earning more than that now, but she was making over $1 million a year just from the ads in her YouTube videos. Now, obviously, chances are you're not going to be doing that much, but you can use that revenue just to, again, pay for some of the advertising and to really finance your business. Now, another thing that we can do as ad revenue is sell them a CD or DVD. And the reason that we want to do this is because more money is spent on education and information than anything else in today's modern world. You know, it used to be that labor and doing work for people was the most highest paid. Now it's information. That's why we live in the information age. So instead of directly selling your products and services, what we can do is we can educate our audience. So let's say that you are a contractor, and what would people be interested before they start hiring a contractor? Well, some things that they would be interested in is home improvement loans, home improvement projects, how to hire a contractor, how to look for, check the licensings of a contractor, how not to get scammed by a contractor. Obviously, that's if you're in the contracting business. If you're in insurance, same type of thing, how to save money on insurance. And you just want to think about what would people want to know before they buy my type of products and services, because what we do as business owners is we are in the problem solving business, not in the sales business. So we first sell them educational information that shows them how to fix their problems, and then we could at that point then that would sell them what the main thing that we have. Now, these are of course options and some examples that you can utilize. You don't have to obviously use all these examples. But then the other thing that we've already talked about is having an impulse item, right? And mass marketable products. And we've already provided you with some of these as part of this system. Now the last step is, or the next step is follow-up. There's a number of different reasons for this. Only 1% of sales are done in the first contact, and 80% of sales are done on the 5th to 16th contact. So if we follow up with them, they're going to be more likely to buy our products and services, because the more exposure that we get to them, the more that they're going to trust us. Okay? And then this is followed by, we can use consultations, voice blasters, text messages, email, direct mail, and squeeze pages. We can even use those again through different follow-up sequences. Okay, and then what all of this does is it highlights the importance of why a person should want to go ahead and buy your products and services, and this is where you make all of your profits.
So again, let me take you to my computer and explain how this works. So in closing, many business owners do not really understand what their real job is. Many businesses think that it's their trade. That's what they get paid for. But really the only thing that you get paid for is selling, right? That's the only way you get paid. And then after you get paid, and then after you do the selling, then that's when you're able to go ahead and do whatever your trade is. So unless you master the skill of selling, and unless you sell your products and services first, you won't have anybody to do what you do so well for people for, right? Now, being a small business owner like yourself, that's one of the hardest things that you can do, because not only do you have to do your trade, you are the labor, you are the customer service, you are the administrative work, you do the office work, you do everything. Now, in addition to that, you also have to take care of your insurance, you have to take care of your taxes, you have to take care of your cash flow, make sure the cash flow is coming in. You have to do marketing, because without the marketing, there is no cash flow coming in. And so by understanding these different areas of your business, you can make more money, or let's just say put more money back in your pocket, even if your business is not generating any more revenue. Now, from the day you open your business to the day you sell it and retire, you're going to need to know how to sell and to get people to pay you for what it is that you do. So isn't it time that you get this part of your business handled? Now, again, you were not born knowing how to walk, talk, or even how to drive a car, were you? These are all skills that you learned them when you needed them. Now, the same thing is true when it comes down to your business. Now, from the day you open your doors to the day you close your business and retire, you're going to need to know how to get customers to pay you for what it is that you do. So again, isn't it time to get this part of your business handled? Now, one last time, I'm going to take you to my computer. I'm going to show you what you get as part of this membership. I'm going to walk you through and step by step, and so you can go ahead and get started. Now, again, if you do have any questions, please do get in contact with us. But come on with me as I take you back to my computer one last time.